Welcome to a new episode of Smash Writing. I'm your host for this review, Paul, and I wanted to wait a little bit to post this video because the movie is obviously so big. So many people are flocking to go see it. So many people are spoilers leaked while in advance, but you didn't know if they were real or not. Obviously, we're not going to post videos of the actual film and everything else like that. But we do got to talk about it and we do got to review it. Now, I don't know if Justin's doing a blog on it. He has seen it too on his schedule, and I got to see it on my schedule. I went this past Saturday, to see it. Me and my wife went to go see it, so it was like kind of like a date night and a business thing. It's awesome how you can double dip like that sometimes. But so today we are talking about Spider-Man: No Way Home, the trilogy that started back in 2017, now ends in 2021. We do know, because of the success, that there is possibly a Spider-Man 4. Even if those are just still strong rumors, it makes kind of sense to go, still work together. This film is, at this point, probably going to cross the $1 billion mark this weekend. So now let's get to it. So the events of this film picks up directly after the second film, Far From Home, ends. And now Peter has to adjust that his secret identity has been revealed to the world. And on top of that, they are accusing him of murdering and being a murderer, hero turned villain, such and such stuff like that. So Peter starts to feel the consequences of being Spider-Man and everything else like that. The problem then really burdens him is that his friends, his girlfriend, they all applied to the same schools because they all wanted to go as a trio, which many high school students do. And unfortunately, they get turned down because they're associated with Peter Parker, a.k.a. Spider-Man, a.k.a. a murderer, and all that. Now, we can still talk about how quickly the world turned on Spider-Man despite him saving them, help saving them and end Thanos and everything else like that. That can be a discussion for another topic about how I think that's a plot hole. Yeah, he had his supporters, but it's like, man, the world quickly turned on these heroes despite everything that has happened. It's kind of weird. But that's one issue. So Peter goes to Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, he wants Doctor Strange to cast a spell that people forget that he is Spider-Man. As Doctor Strange is concurring this spell to do this, Doctor Strange is explaining him, everybody that knows him from Spider-Man will no longer know him up to that point. So then he starts to panic and realize, he told his aunt, Happy, his girlfriend, MJ, and his best friend, Ned. So he keeps interfering with the spell, and it goes haywire. Now, Doctor Strange contains it, and he thought it was over. And, Peter explains why he wants this done, because his friends didn't get in MIT. And Strange's like, well, did you go to a hearing or some sort of that type of stuff to, ask for, a second chance and plead your case? Of course, Peter is dumbfounded because he's like, I didn't do that. So he talks to Flash, and Flash gives some insiders information that the head of the HR department or student acceptance or something like that left the party, and she's on her way to the airport. So, of course, he gets dressed in his best wrinkly suit, and he gets to the bridge. Now, Just as he gets in the car and starts to talk with this lady, that's when Doc Ock appears. Doc Ock, from the first Spider-Man series, from Spider-Man 2. Now, so they engage in like a little battle, and there is some good one-liners. Peter going, "Do I know you?" when he, Doc Ock goes, "Hello, Peter." So they go back and forth. Ultimately, a slip-up that Doc Ock did was he took the Iron Spider technology and it fused with his tentacles. While the main controller was still with Peter, so he ended up controlling the tentacles, and that's when the Green Goblin appeared. Just as Spider-Man was about to face him, he goes back to Doctor Strange's like dungeon or whatever they call it, and they concur that there was slips in this crack, and these villains are coming through. One by one, we get to meet these villains that were some of the best Spider-Man villains that we got to see on screen. Electro, was Max Dillon, played by Jamie Foxx. Though he comes back not as the Blue Ultimate version, but as the more mainstream classic version of his suit. Cool. Just then you meet Sandman. Now, interesting enough, Sandman stays in his sand form 90% of the time that he's on screen. So now we got the Green Goblin back. We got Doc Ock back. We got Sandman back. And we have Electro back, and then we also have the Lizard, Kurt Connors from Amazing Spider-Man 1, which Doctor Strange caught off screen. So Peter learns that these villains ended up dying at some point at the hands of a Spider-Man. And he believes that they should deserve a second chance or maybe get fixed, because throughout the film, his Aunt May is preaching to him, second chances, better heart, and all of that. While just as that seems to be the case, the villains ultimately disagree with Peter, and because the Green Goblin convinces them that they're not cursed. They're not anything like that. These are gifts. Now, They escape, and they're, Spider-Man's now getting overwhelmed. Now, here's the best part. MJ and Ned just want Peter back because he's scattered all over the place, and they need him back right now. So they call upon him with the sling that Doctor Strange uses to open portals, and they see a Spider-Man. The big reveal is this is the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield. Crowd goes wild. And we'll talk about performances in a minute, so let me just finish the plot. At the same time, they then call upon Peter Parker again. And this time, we get the OG, the 2002 Tobey Maguire, which was a huge pop in the crowd. Both got a huge pop, actually. Another surprise one was actually at the beginning of the film. Peter Parker's attorney that got him off the charges was indeed Matt Murdock, and it was Charlie Cox, and he indeed is Daredevil. He improved. He got the skills when somebody threw a brick through a window, and he caught it before Peter did. So, great. Every rumor so far to this point has been confirmed. Now, what makes this such a great film is so ultimately, only one good sad scene was that Aunt May did die at the hands of the Green Goblin. Which Green Goblin blamed Peter for not doing enough to stop him, blah, blah, blah. The chemistry amongst the Spider-Mans was probably such a highlight. I forgot, honestly, how good Andrew Garfield was as Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And it sucks because he didn't get a fair shake with his series. His movies took a lot of beating amongst critics, but I think a lot of people agreed that he did a great job as Peter Parker. He loved it. It's sad that he never got his third film. This movie at least gives us closure to see what the Spider-Mans have been up to since their departure from the main screen. Of course, the movie basically ends with the defeat. The Spider-Mans were able to cure all the villains to their good form right before Doctor Strange reappears, because him and Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, got into a fight in the mirror dimension, which Peter used his knowledge to get the upper hand of the magic. So that was a blessing too. In the end, Doctor Strange come back. Peter realizes that he wants a clean slate, and he thinks now that his relatives are all gone, he feels like it's best to do a clean slate for everybody, so everybody gets their chances, everybody gets what they want. Peter says his goodbyes to Ned and MJ, and he promised that he would come and find them, and they will reconnect, just in a different time frame. Even Doctor Strange does not know who Peter Parker and Spider-Man is. Happy. Everybody that knows Peter Parker, he has now escaped from the face of the earth, and he started over with his life. And the film basically ends with him seeing MJ, Ned again. They're MIT students, and he looks like he's getting his GED, which obviously how smart he is, it'd be a no-brainer. And he moves into like a crappy little apartment, but he swings off as Spider-Man. So you get the post-credit scene of Eddie Brock Venom, played by Tom Hardy. And he's trying to recap what's happening in this universe. And just as he realizes like him and Venom need to go to New York because they're in Mexico, he gets beamed back to his universe. But a piece of Venom is left, and it shows life. This could be a clever way of introducing this Venom to the MCU, which could open a door to, like I said, if Spider-Man 4 and it's Tom Holland again, they do have a clean slate of, they almost basically did a soft reboot within continuity. It's impressive what they did. Now, let's talk about the acting. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield replayed their roles as Peter Parker and Spider-Man's to a T, just as we came to love them. And I think a lot of people did enjoy Andrew. I got the feeling that Andrew wanted to be Spider-Man so bad again in this film, and he got that second chance. Tobey, as good as I got sold on him as being Spider-Man, and he did do his job good, it felt like he was also like, I'm the OG Spider-Man actor. My presence alone would be okay. Now, don't get me wrong. They had great scenes. The chemistry amongst them, calling Tom Holland calling himself Spider-Man 1 and Tobey 2 and Andrew 3 when they were trying to work as a team was hilarious. The other two Spider-Mans not knowing what the Avengers were and thinking he was in a band. The bad cracking of the back scene was hilarious. Even when they became on screen, when they first came on screen with Andrew's Spider-Man got approving to MJ that he is indeed Peter Parker from a different universe. And him and Tobey Maguire's quick fight scene in them getting Tobey getting the best of Andrew because he blocked his web shooter. And even in the final the sequence of the film, they're still having a chuckle because Toby is the only one that shoots organic web while they have to build web shooters. Great back and forth. The fight scene between the Green Goblin and Tom Holland's Spider-Man was downright awesome. Because obviously they didn't want to do the same fight sequence that we already seen among Spider-Man and Green Goblin. I mean, we were doing power bombs, all types of moves, some good hard swings and everything like that. It was incredible. Everybody did a great job with their role. From MJ down to Ned. We knew at some point Aunt May probably was going to go. Now, we never seen it across the other films because Aunt May has always been there. So, but they didn't want to do the Uncle Ben killing it. So you knew at some point Aunt May had to be a victim. And sure enough, she was. Now, and that gave the clean slate motive and, trying to help others. And she did preach the line, with great power comes great responsibility. Even when the Green Goblin was defeated, Tom Holland's Spider-Man was going to go kill him, and Tobey Maguire interfered. Don't make the same mistake that he did. Now, some little Easter egg that did, in fact, catch my attention, and if you paid attention to how these villains were talking, you caught it too. So we know, most of these villains did die in their films. Except like Sandman, I do believe. But when they came over to this universe, they were brought in at different times in their lives. Each villain, minus the Green Goblin, which I feel like he was still probably at some point before their fight, or maybe at the end of right before Spider-Man 1. They came over not as they died, but maybe like moments before they died, though they know that there is a age gap because Doc Ock can confirm, like, oh, you're all grown up. So he knows that there's been a significant amount of time, but he still came back. It's weird how they did it. I think it was awesome. Is this the best Spider-Man movie? I think so. I think they did all the right build-up. They kept everything a secret. They brought back every fan favorite across the board. And that just made the crowd go, wow. If you're experiencing that movie for the first time, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, I think everybody carried their weight. It's almost crazy because I think Tom Holland got outshined. Though he did his part great, I still think he got outshined because everybody else brought their A game, and so did he. It's just when you're comparing them, it's a no-brainer. I am giving this film, by our ranking system, an S rating. I think it's superior. I think it's the greatest Spider-Man film to date. I'm looking forward to what the future holds with Spider-Man and see where they go from here. I'm looking for all the great storylines and everything else like that. And what Sony's going to do with their Spider-Verse, because there's a lot of fan theories out there that makes logical sense. Even some believing that Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock is actually in the Amazing Spider-Man universe because Tobey's universe already has a Venom. Good point. If you looked at the Morbius trailer, they have a Spider-Man labeled as a murderer. This could be Andrew with Gwen. And he even acknowledges in the trailer as, I'm Venom. I'm just kidding. I'm Dr. Morbius. So this could be, do I see Sony bringing Andrew Garfield Spider-Man back? Maybe not in like a in another Amazing Spider-Man series film. But if it lines up that way, then yes, because we know that these villains are not in the MCU, because Tom Hardy's Venom going back confirms it. So which universe is he in? Would have to be the Amazing Spider-Man, because I don't think Sony's going to have... Well, they could cast another Spider-Man and have two Spider-Mans. You got the MCU Spider-Man and the Sony Spider-Man. So we shall see how this all plays out. But amazing film. Real amazing film. S all the way. Everybody played their part. The action, the direction, the character development, the pain, everything, the fun, the joy, everything like that was just on par. They went up and above for this film, and now Peter's high school days are over, so we will see how the MCU Spider-Man handles his life now. I hope you guys go see it if you haven't already. Come back, watch this video if you agree, or if you want to spoil it a little bit and still want to go see it. If this encourages you to go see it, hey, that's fine too. But until next time.